Hello, Starshine. This is Smadar from Song of Stones. I am a crystal whisperer, which means that I talk to stones and they talk to me. And today I'm here with some stones that were inspired by a client who was looking for stones for depression, and then intuitively I was drawn towards a couple of other stones, one for grief and one for light. So I want to tell you about these stones, and I want to tell you also that I'm also inspired to talk to you about this because of the time of year that it is, because we're in some parts of the world, there's the holiday of Thanksgiving. In North America, it's celebrated at different times, but the idea is the same, that it's a holiday specifically for looking and feeling grateful for what we have in our lives. And it's a beautiful idea. It's a beautiful sentiment, and it's really lovely to look at the things in our lives that bring us joy and well-being and happiness, and things that the blessings in our lives. But we also have to be a little careful here, because sometimes we need to honor the feelings that are coming up. Like, so what if we don't feel grateful? This is the question that came up. What if we are in a moment in our lives where gratitude is not easy to pull out or to open our hearts to? And the answer that I got is, from the crystals, is that it's okay. That it's okay. Not only is it okay, but we really need to honor our feelings. We need to honor what is going on in our lives. And it's important to see that sometimes the grief or the sadness or the loneliness or whatever it is that we're feeling is not a bad thing. And it can be really easy to label those things as bad. Listen, are they comfortable to feel? For sure they're not. I mean, who wants to stay in those feelings? They're very uncomfortable. I mean, some people will go to great lengths to stop feeling those feelings. And I get it. And but it's also really important to just honor where we are in our feelings, because we can, honestly, the only way through to the other side of them is through them. So what can we do, though? Like, there's things that we can do to allow us to feel what we're feeling, but not suffer through them and not stay in them, to help us move through a little bit with a little bit more ease, with a little bit more speed, so that we don't have to stay, because we can easily get stuck in those feelings. It's especially when we live in a world where we're bombarded with. Media bombards us with the extremes. of life, the extremes of the worst tragedies in our world, and hyping them up, and then playing them over and over and over again. Breaking news has lost its impact because every minute there's breaking news, and it's the same stuff that they just told us, so it's not really breaking. Anyways, and then we have the other extreme. We're on social media looking at beautiful people and beautiful scenery and beautiful, just everything is so intensely gorgeous and amazing and inspiring, and we want to have that, and we want to be that, and we want to do that, and then that can also cause us to feel a real powerful sense of lack in our lives. So we've got these two extremes, and the great things, the tragic things can be overhyped, and the great things can be overhyped, and there's not a lot of truth in either one. We need to see sometimes the normal middle, the reality of life. We've got a lot of reality programming, but none of it is real. So, we've got this skewed sense of what's truth. And then that when we expose ourselves to all of that, we're exposing ourselves to feelings of either great fear or great lack. And it's easy to get lost in that. So what can we do? Well, first of all, I just want to say that, we need to find the joys in our life. We need to look into our lives and see all the ways that things are going well for us. See all the blessings. Definitely we need to do that. But also we need to feel what we're feeling. So not feeling like we need to be grateful in a moment where we're feeling sadness, or we need to snap out of our grief and be grateful for what we have, or we need to snap out of our depression and see the light. And yes, we don't want to stay in any of those dark places. Of course we don't. And but we also need to honor them. So we need to have that balance in our lives. But so when we're in those dark moments, and it's synchronicity that the skies are overcast today, and it's dark and it's gray. So what do we do though? What can we do for ourselves to bring a little more ease and a little more comfort and a little more support and a path forward out of our darkness? We can call on the stones, and these are the ones that we're singing for me today. It doesn't have to be these particular ones, but I'm going to talk to you about these. And so the black one is obsidian. It's rainbow obsidian. You wouldn't know it unless unless you had the right light and I moved the stone around. You could see some color and some light moving around in the stone. And it could be any obsidian. Any obsidian can take us out of, not take us out of our grief, but support us through our grief, so that we don't have to suffer through our grief. Grief and suffering don't have to go hand in hand. I know it seems like a bit of an oxymoron, but really, we don't have to suffer through our sadness. It's painful, and we acknowledge that. We acknowledge that it's painful, but we don't have to suffer. Anyways, I think that when you hold a piece of obsidian in your hand, when you're feeling grief, you can get a bit of an understanding of what I mean by that. It's a beautiful stone. It's one that I invite into my life often. I keep obsidian near me often. Because, listen, life is a roller coaster. And, sometimes we have to go through quite a bit of loss. And so obsidian can help us to go through that and not feel like the blackness is bad, and not suffer through our sadness, and ease ourselves out of it more gently, more easily, more quickly. And then we have the raw, grayish, rocky looking stone with all the holes. It's called a holy stone. It's a beach stone that's been weathered, and animals have burrowed holes into, little creatures have burrowed holes into these stones and created openings. They've created pockets of comfort and sanctuary. And this is the stone that was singing for depression, for those times where we are so sunk into the grayness that we feel like it's always going to be like that life will never get better. It's kind of, I find myself thinking about the times when, if you've ever been out at sea and you see the ocean all around you, water all around you, with no end in sight, and you could be going for days without seeing land, without seeing any indication that you're ever even near land. We can't see it. It's so vast until we get there, until we're there, and then the land comes into view. And depression can be very much like that. We can't see the end of it until we're there. And that can be really hard. And so we call on a holy stone to help us to see that, help us to remember that we came from land and we're heading towards land. And it can also help us to keep on course towards land so that we don't go in circles. So that we're headed towards shore. And then the clear stone that you're looking at, the very geometric stone that you're looking at, comes forward to help us have hope. That when we lose hope, we can feel very lost. Again, we can feel like we're out at sea with no hope of coming to where we want to go. And I feel like maybe that's the worst of them all. So we need to have hope. in order to keep going. And this stone comes to cast rainbows into our lives, the ultimate symbol of hope, the light at the end of the storm, the color and the light and the beauty at the end of a storm that we might have been in for a very long time. And it comes to show us that there's a rainbow there for us. And we can even see it right now if we're looking in the right place. And this stone makes us twist and turn and shift our angle and our focus. So that we can see the rainbow that's otherwise hidden. Pause for dramatic effect. I didn't pause on purpose for dramatic effect. I just paused because it's kind of breathtaking to me to see that. It's kind of breathtaking to see that it's there. It's right there. And we're not looking in the right place. And all we have to do is just turn. Just strain and stretch. And shift. And there it is. Yeah, that was worth seeing again. Okay, so I am going to leave you with that. I feel like I can't say any more after seeing that rainbow said it all. And I encourage you to look for those rainbows in your life, around you, wherever you can find them, in nature and wherever you can find the rainbows. But not to the detriment of allowing yourself to feel what you feel. You can have both. You can really have both. We need the balance in life. But so if you're not feeling grateful for anything, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Draw on the crystals. Draw on wherever, like whatever it is that helps you in your life. It could be a friend. It could be a walk in nature. It could be a literal rainbow. It could be whatever you want it to be. I am inviting you to try to find that connection through the crystals, because they are magnificent at helping us when we're not in a state of mind to help ourselves, to even know that we need some help. And the crystals come in a subtle, gentle, beautiful, loving way to help us go into that state of joy and happiness and bliss, to help us see the blessings in our lives. So speaking of blessings, I send you many, many, many blessings of all good things and love and light. And I invite you to join us in a couple of weeks for our Crystal Live. And if you're needing some help finding that bliss and that joy and the rainbows, come and be with us, and we will together look for them together. And you can just sign up if you're not receiving the invitations yet and you want to be part of our community, you can sign up at songofstones.com. And there's lots of ways to sign up to our newsletter, and you can do that through social media as well, Instagram and Facebook. And hope to see you there. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, rest of your weekend.